comment that came through here that said Gerrard, Coutinho were world class, but yeah, we never replaced them and still won trophies. You did, and you became. I'm going to say this bluntly. Gerrard would have played for that Klopp team that was winning trophies. Gerrard was good enough to. Coutinho, you could argue, actually would have. The balance might not have been there because that midfield was workmanlike, which enabled your fullbacks to get forward, which were a massive creative outlet for you. It could have been different if Coutinho stayed, and that's the nature of football. You'll never know and have that answer. But when you say it goes thanks to the front three carrying us, now I wouldn't call it a carry job because the defense was formidable. Alisson has been an amazing part. It was a team that got you to that point. But I think what that front three of Mane, Salah, and Firmino did, and then what Salah has continued to do, I think has gone above and beyond what Gerrard did, above and beyond what Coutinho did as an individual performing. Because if you just had Coutinho and that front three was never as good as they were, Coutinho being as good as he was, I don't think you win the Premier League the way you did. I don't know if you're as good as you are right now as an example, but you might be better. Salah might go, you might go and get Isak, you might go and get Jarrod Bowen, and you're even better next year. And we go, bloody hell, well done, Liverpool, you've replaced them. But I'm just looking at the history of teams of won multiple trophies, had some of their greatest ever players. When those people move on, it's rare. And in fairness to Liverpool,
the thing is, Rax said something. What you're saying, okay, Terry, it could happen.
Bro, let me just finish my last line, then I'll go to you. I am not saying it is impossible. I'm not saying it won't happen. Mm-hmm. I'm just stating, like, brace yourselves for it not going perfectly, just based on history. Just like temper your expectations a little bit. That means expect good replacements, but the idea that you'll get another Mo Salah, it might not come for 30 or 40 years. And I learned that the hard way. I will be okay when these players and Fergie go, we'll do this. You're better run than we are. But it's true. But it's the first time I lived it. And there are Liverpool fans that are 20 years older than me that when their great 80s team was fading out and their great managers were leaving, none of them expected what came for the next 20 or 30 years. And I think that's where I think both our fan bases should learn from those experiences, demand the best, but temper our expectations to a certain degree. Because if you bring in Bowen on the right, if you're like, you have to be as good as Salah, that pressure's going to probably kill him. It's going to probably kill him. And I think it's about just managing those expectations. That's all I mean by it. Sorry, Hassan, back to you, mate.
No, I don't even disagree with anything you've said. I'm just looking more at it from what Rax said, which is it just depends how long it takes them time to gel. Like even they see the thing you just mentioned, which is, let's say Mo leaves and we get Isak and Bowen, okay? Both Premier League proven players and everything. But maybe by the time they gel with each other, it takes them 10, 11 games, and maybe we're out of the title race by then. Like, that's the type of stuff that you have to look at. Like, I'm just looking at chemistry. And the other thing that people don't keep in mind when it comes to these two players, and it's something that Terry alluded to as well indirectly, it's two things that are not measured statistically. Thank God Mike Das is not here, which is presence. Mo will intimidate any back four he's coming up against. That intimidation only exists in a handful of players in world football. Virgil van Dijk will intimidate frontline players coming up against him. I'll never forget Football Terrace match reaction. Terry lambasts Lautaro Martinez for not even trying to dribble past Virgil van Dijk. Yeah, but you see what that is? That's not something on the stat sheet. It doesn't show, oh, by the way, the other guy was scared, but it's reality. Like, he was scared. So this is the thing.
He was scared. Yeah, no, I agree with that. There's an interesting comment that came through here that said, DJ says, we were all saying this when Klopp left. DJ, I wasn't. I didn't think Liverpool would fall off massively if the right coach came in, and obviously the club has to keep operating in the same way. When Michael Edwards came back, I went, damn, that's a bad thing. I predicted you guys being in the title race and it was laughed at. There were a few content creators last year that were like, when Klopp's gone, Liverpool are finished. But that's still because, and I'll say in fairness to those people, most people think about clubs operating how they did in the 90s, in the 80s, in the 70s, and football has changed. And I think that's been there. So again, and when I say I don't think you guys will be as good, same as City, I think City could be in the title race next year. What's likely, though, even with Pep as the manager, when losing their greatest ever players, is that they're in the title race. They might even win the league. But will they be as good, as powerful, as formidable? And I'll give you an example. Say you take Salah out and put Bowen in this year. I still think you're top. but you might be top by 2 or 3 points and not currently sitting top by whatever it is, 16. I know there's 2 games in hand to be played. And I think that's the difference there, DJ. It's not saying Liverpool will be crap next year and not in the title race, because you don't know how good everybody else is. But that you may find that there's certain games that this season you're winning because Salah just comes up with that magic. Van Dijk just makes that interception because he's so good. Next year, you might find you drop an extra 6 points, drop an extra 8 points, but you're still in the title race. It becomes a leveler for you. And that's all I'm seeing with City this year. The ball isn't being fed into Haaland anywhere near as much as it was. So he isn't scoring and winning as many games. Therefore, they've dropped down. They're also, because Rodri's not there and their other midfielders have lost their legs, their backline's getting exposed more regularly in games. They're still a team in Champions League contention, but they've fallen back a little bit. I'm going to do these super chats here because we're right near the end of the show. Thank you for asking everybody to hit the like button, bro. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm a United fan. VVD and Salah won a league under Klopp, now under Slot. Compare that to clowns like Rooney and Vidic and Rio, who had no career after Fergie left. I just don't think. Firstly, Rio and Vidic were right near the end of their careers at that particular point. I just don't think. I'll be honest with you. I'm challenging your validity as a Manchester United fan if you're going to attack those individuals, because what you're then doing is you are removing the context of what happened. So I also don't think if Jurgen Klopp was allowed to pick the replacement and FSG were allowing accountants to run their football club, I don't necessarily think the right transition would have taken place, and there could have been the opportunity that Liverpool went backwards. So there's a reason that Liverpool have had serious level key experienced football decision makers helping the FSG to run their football club for the past 15 or so years, compared to bankers and accountants and people there. If you ask Liverpool fans this, to be honest, the way the types of people running Man United from Fergie retiring until now is similar to what they had under Hicks and Gillette. And if Hicks and Gillette were running their football club, I mean, they wouldn't have got Klopp. They definitely wouldn't have helped him to build a team that was capable of achieving what it did. So for you to be a Man United fan and to say that, I think I'm personally challenging whether you really are, because if you do support the club, if you do respect the club, and if you're old enough to remember, removing that context is absolutely ridiculous. If Michael Edwards was running Man United in 2013, we never would have gone to David Moyes. And even after David Moyes got sacked, we wouldn't have tried to revamp and change the whole style of the football club a year later to a VVD style. It would have just been pick up from where Fergie left and add quality to it, and we would have maintained our levels. So appreciate the super chat, but I just don't think a real Man United fan thinks in that way. You might be one, maybe you're young and don't remember those days. I think that's a crazy take personally. Seeing Virgil lift the trophy at a sunny Anfield in May in front of the fans will be a thing of beauty, with Jurgen grinning from the stands. Yes, you'll never walk alone. Yeah, listen, I get why Liverpool fans would love that. Saying Messi is better than Nunes is low IQ. Terry, most important thing to Liverpool is all players staying healthy. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Have never already done that one about United. Sorry. PSG have benched their whole starting 11, including the goalkeeper. Yeah, I saw that. That's crazy. That's crazy. Liverpool players are tired and could lose the next 2 games. They could lose. I don't know if they will. They could, but I doubt it, my friend. I doubt they're gonna. Well, they've got Everton and PSG, so they could lose it, to be fair. But I got a feeling they'll beat PSG. I got a feeling they'll beat Everton as well.
Newcastle is the Carabao Cup final next weekend.
Yeah, true.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a little rotation. Ade here says, Terry demands all United fans agree with him or you're not, or you're no fan. That isn't what I said, is it? I'm stating for you to remove that context and then downplay 3 of the basically essentially saying 3 of our greatest ever players are bums because they didn't maintain the levels after Fergie left. You're also ignoring the fact that if, for instance, Liverpool would have gone and got a manager like Amorim, who, by the way, I think is a very good coach, but who wanted to change every fundamental at the club in terms of football and would want to change lots of the players and change how they played football, I also don't think they'd be top of the league this season. So even if you hire a really good coach, you've still got to try and create that continuity. It's why Liverpool said no to that situation. They didn't say you're a bad coach. They just said, hang on, we don't need 23 new players. We need someone to come in and pick up the baton from Jurgen Klopp. So this is what I'm saying, Ade, to ignore how football clubs are run, how continuity is created, and then ignore the mistakes that Man United made compared to the brilliance of FSG's seamless transition. It makes that claim very hard for me to take from if someone's claiming they're a Man United fan. Why would you ignore all of those things to shit on 3 of our greatest ever players? That's why I'm challenging. It's a bit like a Liverpool fan saying, do you know what? I used to love Gerrard. Now that I've seen this Liverpool team, he's nothing to me. He's a fucking bum because he couldn't do what they did. It's removing... Gerrard played in some very good teams, but it's removing the context of what was built towards the back end of Gerrard's career and what has been created since. If Liverpool would run as well in Gerrard's career as FSG have done it in the last 15 years, and they built better teams, hired better managers, recruited better, there's a chance that Gerrard wins more. So if a Liverpool fan said that, I would challenge a Liverpool fan, the validity of whether or not that was a Liverpool fan or if it was an Everton fan pretending to be one to take a shot at Gerrard. It wouldn't make sense to me to remove the context of how Liverpool operated to shit on a legend is a weird thing, Ade. So I hope that addresses your point. You can still disagree with me, but I challenge the validity of a fan saying that. I really, really do. Boys, I want to thank you both for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. What? Terry has a suspicion that super chat was from a Liverpool fan. Well, maybe, but it's like that Liverpool account the other day, and I don't blame Liverpool fans. Did you see that guy? He has a Liverpool account, and he changed his account to an Arsenal account to say something embarrassing, and then on his big Liverpool account, retweet saying, "Oh, we live rent free." I do believe that happens from people that don't use their real names and or real faces. I think that you will say things. You get it a lot with Scousers, Everton fans that ring up because they've got a Scouse accent. People think they're Liverpool fans, and they say outrageous things about Liverpool. And you can always, when you hear the voice, you can always smell the undertone of, "Nah, you're not you're an Evertonian, and you're doing it to get what I mean." Like there was that Liverpool fan who rung up, and I think I'd never listened to it until the other day because someone said, "I don't actually think it was a Liverpool fan." The guy that was asking for a second place trophy. When listening to him, I'm like, "Nah, that's not a Liverpool fan. That's definitely an Evertonian." Saying it for a bit of did you get where I'm coming from? So yeah, I totally agree. Please read our super chats, my friend. We did. They've all been read. I'll say no, sorry, I didn't read yours. I'm a liar. I've just gone back and checked, and it didn't star. Let me put that up on the screen for you, my friend. I thought I read them all out because they're meant to star automatically, and sometimes they don't. Let me scroll back, brother. Yours came just before his. Worrying sign is Grav. He looks knackered. Do you see that? Do you think Gravenberch looks knackered?
Looked a bit tired. And he did a lot of running midweek. But they took him off for 10 minutes to go. And you always, tiredness gets worse the more minutes you play towards the end of a game. So the fact that we've saved 10 minutes hopefully means that he's relatively fresh. He has had a long season. He's never played this many minutes, especially this many minutes at the kind of level that you play in the Premier League. So it is a first for him, and he's a young kid, and he's going to take, I expect him to do better and better and better as the years progress. So there's an element of that, but I think he'll be okay.
He's still one of your best players this season, Gravenberch, so he's going to have to play a lot of games because who else can you replace him with?
I'm interested to, obviously there's a long way to go, but I'm interested because we've talked a lot about player of the season and stuff like that in the last few weeks. I'm interested to know who the candidates for young player of the year are, because I think he has to be one of them.
Yeah, he's a great shout. And we'll do some content on that probably over the international break when there's less to talk about, rather than having another fucking Didier Drogba, Thierry Henry debate. Do you know what I mean?
Isn't that also when the Gerrard Scholes Lampard debate restarts?
Oh yeah.
I just can't be doing it anymore. Ade here says, "I've been a Liverpool fan for 30 years. I know United's context, but if it's funny, it's all when context is applied." So you're saying I'm undoing what a Liverpool United fan said, but it sounds like you actually agree with me.